Hey, what up everybody? Duck here. Welcome to the stream. Just dialing in the sound a little bit here before we get going. Alright, that should be good, hopefully. Okay. Alright. So yeah, Bitcoin up on the screen per usual. We are dumping right into our layered bids here, and basically, I mean, you got to be right in the golden zone. Okay, so watch. If we were gonna do a fib from the C low to the D high, our golden retrace zone, yeah, see, we already went through it. Our golden retrace zone was from the 382 to the 618. That was where that first stopping point was that 618. You then rallied back up just to test the top of the golden zone at the 382. You just rallied up again to test the top of it, right? And now you've fallen through it, so it's okay. It doesn't matter. The golden zone is just a common retrace area. Okay, it doesn't necessarily, none of our D's on our harmonics stop at the 618. That's a B anchor point, but it's not a D anchor point. The D, we're looking for the 786, the blue line, and we're almost there. We missed it by, I mean, we hit 33.5 and that's 33.2. I mean, we're there, guys. You know what I mean? If you get one more dip into it, great, but like, you should have already been filling, because there's nothing that says we have to come down in here. Can we still? Sure. Why? Because we also have these targets from the cipher. I mean, this this cipher. You have a bearish cipher into a bullish cipher type of situation almost going on. So yeah, I mean, interesting cipher into cipher action. So your target of this yellow cipher would have been the A, right? The A is the top of this box, right? The 786 is also the A. Okay, so it makes sense. I mean, you were there. Look at this. I mean, that's why we call it a zone, not a dollar amount, right? It's a pattern completion zone. You're in this zone. Okay, so this is already A, this is playing out, and B, the other one is going live. Okay, does that make sense? So in your next target, if you would have got it, would have been the C, right? So this is a much larger range. That's 31.2. So like the lowest you're gonna see is 31.2 here. But right now, this cipher, as the previous one, look, as the previous one did on your D, you're looking for a 786. Okay, so on our D, we're looking for a 786. Okay, to reverse back to the upside here. Okay, ideally you would get this type of reaction as you did on the downside, right? You already got that the previous time, right? You're in it right now. So those are, that's what we're looking for as far as reaction off of this zone. Okay, so we've just been dollar cost averaging in. Current average is sitting right around here. Okay, so big deal. That was the exact point. All right, it's not a problem, it was the plan. All right, so can we get a little bit more of a dip down in here? Sure, we don't have to, but it'd be nice. We'll just fill a few more, right? Fill a few more, and then our dollar cost average would be much lower at that point, and then we start rallying, right, and leave it all behind, and it's fairly irrelevant in the long run. We're just layering into our zones. Okay, okay, so let's see here. Once we hit this target, you could kind of almost, you don't have to get rid of this one, but this would have played out at this point. Okay, so you're really just trying to envision the cipher in blue. Okay, so just try and look through everything else. Oil will even. maybe do this and it'll help. Okay. So we're just looking at the cipher in blue. We're gonna then fib from our C to our D. Well, right now it's up here, okay? We haven't hit that yet. So if it's reverses, it's gonna be from there, okay? So that would be the swing low at 33.550, okay? So can we still get it down here? Sure, but until then, it's right here, okay? Until further notice. If this is where we end up parking, again, we're gonna have a target at the D, okay, which is the previous C high, or previous D on the yellow cipher. It's the C high on the current blue cipher, okay? That's gonna be a target. And it basically is almost the same area as this A. So you have this this zone right here. That's going to be your initial area of interest, okay? So let me clear that up. And you can see, let me clear this up. We've already filled here. We've already filled here, okay? So let's dial this in now. Here's what we're dealing with, okay? So what we're trying to say here is, depending on where you get in, stop below this previous swing point here, this pretty discernible one. We can use that as stop protection, okay? So stop there. Target would be this upside between the A and the C, okay? 20%, 2.5 to 1 R. That would just be the initial area of interest, okay? From there, you would be able to then look for the 1618, okay? So that would look something like this, all right? So this target, you know, would get you 4.5 to 1 now. And it also kind of lines up with this gap fill, square up, basically the same thing, up around 45K area, okay? So those would be your initial areas of interest. You would figure each of which would give you some sort of reaction to the downside, okay? When you reach this first level, you're going to have a little bit of a pullback. Then you're going to go again. You'll probably get through it. When you reach this level, you'll have a bit of a pullback, okay? So they're just reactionary points. They don't necessarily mean reversals. It just areas of interest, okay? Areas of interest that we must be aware of, mindful of, whatever you want to call it. Okay. So Bitcoin, we don't want to lose 29.5 still, okay? This D low here at 29.5, we don't want to lose that. We really don't even want to lose this kind of co-anchor point here from March 23rd low at 30,900. You really don't even want to lose that, okay? So either of these points would act as, you know, areas we don't want to get below, okay? Simple as that. We need this to hold up here. Even if you don't get the 786 reaction at the first top of the zone, you go down into the bottom of it and you just find yourself at the 886, okay? So again, you're still above that stop area. You should still be okay even if this were to play out in this form, okay? Yeah, Bitcoin. This is the 2-hour time frame. Let's start at the 4-hour. Okay, so 4-hour, you're painting, you are working on some, right now, Class B hidden bullish divergence, where you have this initial low on price and you're painting a higher low on price while the oscillators are painting much lower levels of negative momentum. The RSI is painting Class A bullish divergence while the MACD is painting Class B hidden bullish divergence. Okay, so yeah, the RSI is almost more convergence than divergence, but either way, this is looking good, okay? So we kind of we're getting our consecutive higher lows where we had this initial low. Move this up here. We had this initial low May 19th, okay? We had the next slightly higher low May 23rd, and ideally we're painting a third consecutive higher low right now, you know, May 30th basically, right? So you have class B hidden bullish divergence developing on the MACD on the 4-hour significant time frame. RSI is looking good. Okay, let's go back to the 2-hour. This is not on the 2-hour, so we'll get rid of it. Okay, 2-hour, you're painting class A bullish divergence on the MACD, coinciding variables across multiple time frames. RSI, bullish divergence on the RSI, 4-hour. Okay, we have 4-hour, 2-hour aligning in the pattern completion zone of a bullish cipher, which coincides with the take profit area of a bearish cipher. Coinciding harmonics, coinciding multiple significant time frame oscillators. 1-hour. Bullish divergence, RSI, bullish divergence, MACD, okay? Where you have this low on price back here and a much lower low, right? Either one of these points. Ideally, it's this larger one where it's more significant, right? And then a much lower level of price, okay? Much lower low on price with higher levels of negative momentum, higher levels of relative strength. 30 minute, same thing. You're looking not as discerned here, but definitely waning levels of negative momentum occurring, okay? Relative strength holding up. You're just continuing to paint these higher levels of relative strength, okay? You're approaching these 50% range midpoint areas, right? You need to get these RSI levels back above these 50, the neutral zone, okay? Which you're working on it. I mean, you're aiming up here, okay? You've filled bids. We filled bids, missed a little, left some hanging. We don't care. That's the point, right? Filling orders. We're starting to paint, you know, wedge-ish structure. I don't know where you want to take this from, but you definitely have some kind of wedge, right, where prices is just coming to a narrow point where it's springing, right? You're creating that tension and something, you know, it's a reactionary area, okay? So what might happen here, maybe you get some kind of fake out, buy it right back up, and then you're just gone, you know what I mean? So we'll have to see how that plays out, but either way, we don't care. If that were to happen, all we're doing is filling a few more, right? There's still bids set there, okay? We have bids layered all the way to 32, okay? We're just sitting at 34, okay? So nothing by any means is wrong here, okay? Ideally, we break out, we back test somewhere in this area, and we just start rallying and start making higher highs, higher lows, right? Higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. Right now, we've been putting in lower lows, okay? So at some point, we need this price action shift, okay? Momentum shifting price action structure, okay? And here you paint this slightly higher low, okay? You end up painting this neckline, right? You get the break, the back test, the break hook, the go, okay? The low, the initial low, the higher low. Okay, let's start to look for development here in our structure. Actually, before I do that, let's go back to like the 8-hour here. 4-hour. There it is. I want to see where this guy. Okay. It's not developed yet. We'll keep that in mind for later. What I'm trying to look at here, though, is this massive, even larger cipher, right? That still hasn't played out in itself. And its targets, let me clean some of this up. It's going to get confusing. Okay, so these targets up here, still have not played out. You have an A and you have a C target up here, okay? What are we doing here on the 8 hour? Like we said, we painted the initial low, okay? Slightly higher low, and currently, working on that third higher low, okay? Here's our current neckline on a larger structure. So ideally from one of these, bottoming points here, it depends how aggressive or conservative we want to be. We take this measured move and we get this up above this neckline here, and that's going to be right into this other area of previous congestion. So that makes sense as a measured move, area initially, right? Where you rally up, you find your way above this, break, hook, and you go. Your go gets you into that zone. You sell back off, you paint some form of hidden bullish divergence, and then you rally up to those next targets. Ideally 55 is this square up, okay? If we were fibbing this from the current swing high C to the D low, you can see that the 786 at 57 is pretty much the one that's coinciding with both the A target and that square up at 55. So that's a good little secondary zone of interest, okay? And if we can muster the bids, okay, this is how you're going to end up at potentially new all-time highs. Not saying it yet. We have a lot of work to do. But your first area would be 74. Makes sense, right? 75K. Then 78, 79 area, and ultimately 85, okay? You got work to do before that. These gray boxes have to be flipped into support, okay? You got to SR flip this level, SR flip this level, and before even that, you got to SR flip this neckline down here, okay? So you got a significant amount of work to do before you can talk about that. And by the time you perform all of this work, you're going to be pretty exhausted, okay, on the oscillator. So I don't know. We'll have to see, but this is how it all starts, okay? This is how it starts. Large harmonic, right? Finding a base, starting to work on previous, areas that were once support now being regarded as resistance, starting to work on those, flipping them back from resistance into support, and, painting higher lows, painting hidden bullish divergence, things like that are going to be what you need to see have happen, okay? Russian Ethereum. Okay, here we are. Okay, so look, what was once resistance maintained itself as resistance. Again, we had resistance, resistance remains resistance, okay? What did this do? Put us right into our long area where we said if we get in here, we're going to just long it again, okay? You are painting now this inverse head and shoulders-esque structure in price action, okay? So you need to hold this. You're right in the bottom of our zone. Everything's filled, okay? Everything's filled, okay? Now, okay, so once you fill, now we need help here, okay? So RSI and MACD aren't looking too bad here, okay? So this is good signs. We just need to hold this kind of momentum, okay? We ideally this was our long area. If we get this price action, follow through price action, now we just need to get back to this previous resistance areas, okay? And we need to flip these into support, okay? Flip them into support, flip them into support, and this is where we'll find ourselves back at some decent little targets. We kind of have this dragon-esque structure in play here. Depends where you want to mark this. we could call this pretty much right there. It looks really nice there. Really, really nice. Okay. So you have this spine, you have the low, the higher low, the legs, this 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 first little like waistline, and then this abdomen area, okay, where we talk about on these. Um, here's the head of the beast, right? So yeah, let's see if we could start getting some follow through price action. It's basically that's all that's left, okay? So we've gotten the zone. Okay, we're in our zone. This is what we wanted. No time to panic. This is when you FOMO. You are allowed to FOMO here. Inverse FOMO, right? You don't FOMO on your way up here. You FOMO right here when you're painting a higher low, right inside of our previously identified area, okay? That's when you FOMO. So green light to FOMO. May commence now. Go ahead and ape yourselves in. Mindful, not reckless, okay? Strategic apes. We're strategic apes. Okay, so let me show you what got us here, okay? So if we fib from, let me zoom that in for you. If we fib from this low point on May 23rd to the high point on May 26th, you'll see that we have a 618, right? Golden retrace zone. We're right in the golden retrace zone as Bitcoin is right in its completion zone. We didn't have a harmonic here as defined as we did on Bitcoin. I mean, if anything, you can say it's here, okay? So if this was our harmonic, ETH would have to go down a little bit further. But again, this isn't about ETH. This is about Bitcoin. Okay, so if Bitcoin's reversing, ETH is reversing now. You're not going to get this. Can you get it? Sure. Can you get it? Sure. It's always a possibility. It's just going to equal this exact low. Not even, right? It's still a higher low than that. So whatever, okay? But I'm already feeling this isn't that dramatic for me. It's possible, sure, but again, it's on Bitcoin here. If Bitcoin starts dumping again, yes, ETH can give you a little bit more lows. If Bitcoin says let's go, then it's already go time for ETH here, okay? Litecoin, you're in the middle of our zone, okay? You're just about to hit the bottom of it. You have very minimal, let's see, what are we working with here? Gosh, why? 5% move at best remaining in the tank, okay? So your downside versus your upside risk to reward here, if you're in a short, you basically, there's nothing left for you to milk out of this, okay? You start filling those take profits on the short, okay, if you were in one. There's just no, you're playing with fire at this point, right? Your upside, right? So say you were in a short here, okay? That's what I'm trying to tell you. If you were in a short, your target is right here, okay? But your upside is up here. So you see how this is, 0.08. I don't even know how to read this. It's just so bad, right? Like, you don't want to be in a position like that, okay? It's time for that to be inversed, okay? Stop below the low, targeting the previous high zone, okay? 2.7 to 1, okay? You could even tighten this up probably a little bit. 2.86 to 1. You could even bring this up just a little and target a perfect 3 to 1, okay? 3 to 1 right there. Target 285. Stop below 116, 114 area. Current price 160, okay? This is an equitable position, okay? Litecoin, this is what we're looking for. Start to fill on everything, basically. I mean, all the alts look the same. ETH and Litecoin look the same. Bitcoin's already ready. So it's time. Go ahead. Start layering in. But you don't need to be on any crazy ass leverage here, okay? Don't even go on leverage. I mean, just get some spot exposure. You don't always have to be so, 90 miles an hour with everything, right? Um, but either way, if you're gonna do some leverage, keep it low, right? Keep it non-reckless, okay? And your position sizing, right? You need to be able to be in several positions across the board here. You're talking a Bitcoin position, Ethereum position, Litecoin position, whatever else, Wi-Fi, Link, there several others. They all look the same. So you need to be able to be properly positioned across the board in order to be able to be in all of these positions, but yet still not have a liquidation breathing down your throat, right? So how do you do that? Well, your position sizing has to be, appropriate based on your overall total portfolio's size, okay? Trade within your means. Eventually, your means will grow and you'll be able to trade within higher means, but still within your means. Just, you have to do it one step at a time, okay? So, here you go. Green light, right? Green light city coming at you. AVAX painting higher lows, okay? Starting to form some structure here. Where we had the initial low, okay? Painting higher lows here. Eventually, you're going to rally back up here, and you have a couple neckline areas here. You have this one actually right in front of you first. So let's start right there. Okay. So here's our structure, right? So you're probably going to see some kind of rally here. Partial decline. Breakthrough. Maybe you get all the way here and then you back test and you go. Or you simply get here, back test, and this is your first area. Okay. All right. You're looking for things like this: higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows within the structure. Measured move times can occur where you can take this initial congestion low area where traders settled up, bring it to the current neckline area, and you paint this over here, and this is where you end up parking, okay, as your first stopping point. Eventually you find yourself at the harmonic 886 completion, okay? Everything else is kind of just areas of interest more than anything. Previous congestion zones, okay? Previous congestion zones, areas you have to flip, right? A lot of SR flipping, support, resistance, right? What was once acting as current resistance must be flipped into support. Same story across the board per usual, because a lot of these things follow the same. You probably flip that zone. A lot of these things follow the same, macro Bitcoin, right? Mother Bitcoin decides it all. So these kind of patterns, form across the board here. But yeah, this is what you're looking like on AVAX. We're on the hourly. We got some larger time frame stuff happening here. Okay. So XRP, you have this initial low, right? This initial low on May 23rd, like all of them. Now you're working on this slightly higher low though, okay? So this is good. You just need to, maintain, right? You don't want to start losing this low, the May 23rd low, right? You don't want to see that going almost ever, never here, okay? All right, so if you can get back to this neckline, right, somewhere, maybe even still go down a little lower, whatever. You just somewhere you find some bottom here, right? Local bottom. You get back to this neckline, you break back above it, you regard it now as support, right? And this is how we can rally on up. We are fibbing from high to low, from the duck to the low. 786, 886 deep retrace is right in this previous resistance area, is right on the 886, okay? It is also that previous range high that we were regarding from way back here, okay? So definitely an area that's probably going to do some, you're going to have some sort of rejection, some sort of resistance, some sort of just price action will respond in this area, okay? So right now we're looking for a golden retrace between the 382, okay, and the 618. So here's our golden zone, okay? We also have a measured move from the low to the neckline. Copy that, clone it, paste it over here on the neckline, and you can see that from the 618 to that measured move, you have a zone here, okay? So this zone is definitely something that we're going to regard, okay? So kind of just another resistance area, okay? Not as hard as this top one, but they're both going to be significant areas that are going to mess with your XRP long, okay? All right. So $1.30, $1.40, $1.50, right? Currently, you're sitting at 80 cents. Those are nice areas from here, okay? First area, stop up here, 3.25 to 1. Equitable trades, top area, right? So you'd be targeting $1.30, second target $1.50. You don't want to lose 65 cents. Currently, you're sitting at 80 cents. Neckline $1 must be flipped. XRP. Cool. All right, guys. Yeah, I mean, right now, though, the story, per always, right? Don't ever not think this is the case. It's always up to Bitcoin, okay? And like we said, we're starting to look, you're starting to paint that positive momentum for the first time in the past, I mean, not that long, but let's see, what do we got here? For the first time in the past 14 and 13 and a half, 14 hours, you're painting some positive momentum on the 30-minute low time frame. The RSI, you're aiming up, okay? 1 hour, let's see the 1 hour. 1 hour negative momentum is waning, okay? Waning, we need to paint some positive momentum here. RSI, painting, aiming to the upside here, okay? So we need to get back above this neutral zone area on the RSI, on everything, but definitely on Bitcoin, right? Let's see here. 2 hour, painting these. Initially it was looking bad, right? But that's playing out. That has played out. Okay, so what is played out here is now flipping the other side, okay? So now we're going this way, the more recent price action, okay? So what we need to see now is these levels of positive momentum, previous levels, we need to grow above those, right? Above those, paint higher levels. And then again, lower levels of negative momentum, right? And then a higher level of positive momentum, right? We want to see these start to get broken on the positive side, trending up, okay? Make sense? 4 hour, starting to wane. Painted basically equal lows here. What do we do? Slightly higher level of negative momentum. RSI, nothing here yet on the RSI, unless you take it all the way back, right? That's more convergence. This is actually hidden bullish divergence here. Oh yeah. So we're definitely working on something, guys. This is why ETH might not get that low, because Bitcoin might already be done going down, okay? But not necessarily either. You can still get some little BS little wick down into that zone one more time, okay? So just keep it in mind, all right? So cool. Hope you guys enjoyed the quick update. Just wanted to go live now during the day here. Got a little into some action yesterday evening, so wasn't able to go live. So wanted to get live this morning for you guys here. Have to go run a few errands in town, so see what happens while we're out and about, and report back later with more data as we have more data, right? So cool. Hope that brought you a little bit of clarity. Basically, I mean, the plan is playing out per the plan, right? No sense making a plan if we're not going to follow it. We made a plan, we're following it, we're starting to fill bids, you know. We're now we just need the follow through price action, right? Don't get scared of another little wick. Again, we're only at the 743. This can go to the 786, okay? That would be 32.9, okay? So you can still drop another $1,000 right here, and nothing is going to change other than we are going to fill more longs, okay? So another $1,000 drop just freaks everybody the fuck out. We fill more on a discount, and then we run, okay? Ultimately, we're not really looking for 40, even though it's going to act. We might, you know, there might be a small sell-off here, okay? But if we're in down here, this is irrelevant. We're really looking for 50, 55, okay? 50, 55. So let's see what happens. See how this plays out. All right, guys. Catch you on the flip side. Duck out. Peace.